Okay.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Kind of a light showing, but I kind of thought this might happen with the Lions and the moving on to things to Christmas. So, but
Okay, so this first play is going to be a potential backcourt violation. All right, so let's back that up and play it again. And just look to see if you see a backcourt violation on this. And did anybody see a backcourt violation on that? And if it's not a backcourt violation, what rule tells us that it is or isn't?
Was that off a rebound? So there was no team possession in the front court?
Yeah, so let's start right here. Let's look at, okay, so that's off a shot. Okay, so white 5 right there just launched the ball. Okay, so rebound. Now, team control there. Here comes the pickoff. Catches it in the front court, ends up in the back court. And why wouldn't the official make that call? And then as he goes to the basket, watch the lead on this. Potential foul right there. Doesn't really affect his rhythm, speed, rhythm, balance, or quickness. And the lead almost thought about maybe calling a foul here, but just watched a quick flinch, but decided against it, which was a good call just to let it play on out because it didn't really affect anything. But if we look at by rule, Article 3, this is 933, and this is what I'm trying to point out on this is that during a jump ball, there's 3 exceptions to the rule. During a jump ball, throw in, or while on defense, a player may legally jump from his or her front court. And that's what we have here on defense. The defensive team jumped, caught the ball, and we'll just back it up and look at it now. Look at it again. So the defender, number 5 is the defender, right? They're going for the touchdown pass. First foot is in the front court. And by rule, it doesn't matter which foot lands where, but he's allowed to come down on 2 feet. That's my interpretation. Anybody have a different interpretation of that?
I think you're correct. And you don't see this one too often, but you see it happen on throw-ins quite frequently, Dave.
Yes, yes.
Where the defense gets the ball and does that same thing. And this happened on a rebound, so I believe that is not a backcourt violation. And most time we'll see that on a throw-in, I believe.
Yeah, and then we've got anybody else have anything to add on that? Anything that you see that you have any questions about? And once again, there's 3 exceptions, and the throw-in is one that happens a lot, and jump ball it can happen as well. Usually, officials, myself included on this, we don't tend to blow the whistle enough on jump balls because things happen fast, and you have to really be zoned in. If you're napping it all on a jump ball, you're not even going to notice that happen and not even be aware of it. But you need to be aware of it in case a coach complains. You can explain to him why it's not a backcourt violation on a jump ball. But it's the same type of thing. But now let's look at this next. I got a casebook play for us on this next one, which falls right into what Barb was talking about. Here's a case play, 991, situation D. Team A is awarded a throw-in near the division line. A1's throw-in is deflected by B1. A2 jumps from Team A's front court and catches the ball in the air and lands in the back court. Is that a violation? Anybody want to take a stab at this?
I would say that's a violation.
A violation why?
Because the throw-in ended when it was touched by B1. Therefore, the backcourt exception no longer applies.
Give this guy a big A+ on that one. So exactly. So here's the answer that they gave.
Good job.
Did you
And,
guys all get my Christmas list, by the way?
well, boy, you've been a good boy, so you're gonna get a good return on this. So it is a backcourt violation on teammate. The throw-in ends when it is legally touched by B1. And if it's not touched by B1, it's not a violation. And that's the throw-in ends. That's the thing you have to remember. When the ball is touched, those exceptions go away because the throw-in is now officially ended. And that's kind of the takeaway I wanted everybody to walk away on this one is that it can happen fast, and you have to, when it happens in live, it's easy to talk about it here on a Zoom call, but live, recognize, hey, it was deflected and he caught it, status. So a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is status of the ball, status of where the player is. And so when we looked at that one, we don't have an example of this with a video, but it would be a good example of talking about status. The status ends, and the exceptions are done with once that ball is touched because the throw-in is officially ended at that point. Any more questions on that one? All right, play number 2. Okay, once again, we're looking at a backcourt violation. Look for status. Look for, is this a backcourt violation? Okay, let's go through it again. Everybody see where there may have been potentially a backcourt violation? This just so happens that I'm on this game, and this was right next to me, and I remember this call vividly. And look at what we got here. Number one, let's talk about status. Right now, the status of the player and the ball is backcourt. They come to a jump stop here. What's the status of the player now? He's standing on the midcourt line, so the status of the player and the ball is backcourt.
That is not a backcourt violation.
But look at his bottom right foot, and this is, and I remember seeing this live. I mean, I just didn't have enough information, and this would be one of those calls that technically you could maybe, but look at his heel. See how it raises up just a little bit. Now, if he's totally clear and not touching that line, and his foot goes back down on the line, that's technically a backcourt violation.
Yep. Hard to tell, David.
Yeah, and live that was why I didn't call it. It was so doggone close that I got to have more certainty than that. That was
you can't
close. Yep.
can't tell if his heel is completely off the line there.
Yeah, I mean it's close. And I'm going to err on the side of not making that call unless I'm 100% certain on something like that. I'm not going to guess because his right now looks like his left heel is on the line as well. That one goes up for sure. I'm confident seeing that, but I can't tell on the other one 100%. And so I passed on that. But technically, if that heel is all the way off the line, he's no longer touching the midcourt line, that would be a backcourt violation by rule. But I just thought that was a good example of, certainty is always a good thing. And I just didn't have enough information. I was not going to make that call, even though if we could zoom in and get, high detail, we might see that maybe it was just off that line, but too hard to tell in the video and too hard to tell live.
Also a good example of good job being in proper position.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so now I bring this up because if you look at page 41, the bottom part here. So I'm at a game, actually it might have been my first game of the season, and the coach calls us over and says, I want to know, he's all worked up. The game hasn't even started. He's all worked up, wanting to know about, he can't get a straight answer out of these daggone officials because every time he asks, he gets 2 different answers. He can't get everybody on the same page with us. The question basically was, it's where you spot the ball in the front court or the back court. So in other words, is it where the ball is or is it where the person is? And so basically he says if they're holding the ball over the 3-point line, the ball is over the line. Therefore, if a violation occurs, the ball should be taken out underneath the basket. He's heard that. And So I wanted to clear the air with him. I told him what my thoughts were. I didn't have my rule book memorized in my head to lay it out specifically, but I told him what I thought it was based on the knowledge I have of the game of basketball. But it was a good question, and I just wanted to go through it so in case this pops up with anybody, at least you have definitive rule book knowledge on how to handle these cases. Because think about it, you're behind the 3-point line. You're literally holding the ball over the line when the violation occurs. Where is the ball? The ball is over the line. And there's no doubt about that. You can see that. But where'd you take the ball out of bounds? You know, that's the question. That's what he was wanting to know, because every time he'd ask an official, he'd get a different answer. And to be honest with you, my crew, we had one dissenting voice as well. They thought it would go the other way. And so it was a good question. I don't fault the coach for asking if he's getting, information that's different each time he's asking, and then he's going to be confused. So I want to talk about ball location and at the disposal, and this is more having to deal with the ball location. Look at Article 1. A ball which is in contact with a player or with the court is in the backcourt if either the ball or the player, and either player, if the ball is touching more than one, is touching the backcourt. Now I have an example of that I'll show you in just a second. Article 2, a ball which is in contact with a player or with the court is in the front court if neither the ball nor the player is touching the backcourt. Now, these are very important to understand. And I think a lot of times, I know at one time I kind of understood this, but I didn't really. And I'd make some mistakes because I didn't really understand, the location based on, all these factors. In Article 3, a ball which is in flight retains the same location as when last in contact with a player on a court. Perfect example of this would be, think about this, and we all know this. A person takes the ball out of bounds, they throw the long pass and it goes out of bounds without touching anybody. Where does it go out? Where do we take the ball out of bounds? Back at the original location. So a ball which is in flight retains the same location as when it was last in contact with a player or the court. So until it comes in contact with with that throw-in officially ending, it goes back to the spot of the throw-in. I think that's what that one's talking about. And then Article 4, a ball which touches a player or an official is the same as a ball touching the floor at that official or at that individual's location. So keeping these 4 articles in Section 4 and the definitions of our rule book, keeping these in mind really helps me be able to process things when they happen live, actually. And so we're going to look at some examples of this. So here's an example of, and I may even showed this one last year. I can't remember if I did or not, but here it is. This is a potential backcourt violation. The trail official is signaling we have a deflection. The center's coming over, and once again, that's me. And what do you notice here is that, let's just back it up right here. All right, let's talk about team control. Who has team control right now? Black does. It's a deflection by the white team. So we know we have team control in the front court by black. It's a scramble for the loose ball. The official signals that it's been tipped because if it goes in the back court, that tells everybody in the gym, if they know the rule, that they can touch it without penalty. The white team can. And then, or I should have said the black team. And then, so what happens here is you have the white player touching the foot in the backcourt and is also touching the ball. It's really hard to see on the screen, and then gets pulled away the last second. And so if someone wanted to say, well, that was a backcourt violation, it's not, because you got 2 players. So that status of the ball was, since 2 players are touching it, is where? The status would be, as long as black has it right now, it's front court. And the rule is team control in the front court, last to touch in the front court, first to touch in the back court. So here it goes in, the white player steps into the back and is touching the ball, and therefore the ball has status of being in the back court. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Okay. And so that, I just thought that was that to me explains, when you got 2 people touching the ball and one's in the backcourt, that ball is no longer considered to be front court status. It is backcourt status based on that player touching it. And then we'll go on to any more questions on that one. We'll go right into play 3. Okay, now this one's a little bit long one. I think Glada, thank you for this one. This was a good one to talk about. Once again, a backcourt violation potential on this. Okay, a lot to talk about on this one. Okay, so let's back it up to the beginning. We'll go to where it's deflected. Okay, so we got, once again, the whites in team control, deflected by the black team. Is this a backcourt violation? They're in the front court now. So what's the status of the person picking the ball up right now? Status is backcourt because he's in
Backcourt.
backcourt. Okay, so now let's just stop it right there for a minute and let's have some of you guys help out on this here. What did you see on that play live? And would you call this a backcourt violation based on what you've seen so far? And I can back up and play it again. I'll play it live again just so you can see it again live.
I think it all depends on if you think black ever had control.
Exactly. So this is exactly what determination has to be. And this is a tough one because, you know, right there, he doesn't have control there, obviously. He just tipped it away. Now he comes in. Does he have control yet? How do you determine control? He batted it to the ground. Now he's wanting to start his dribble.
You lost it.
But when he lost it off his knee, he was still in the backcourt technically because he didn't have a foot down in the front court yet. So right there, and then he hits it off his knee, and then he trips over it. So he lost control before he ever had front court status.
Yeah, I mean, the rule is you have to have front court status, or it has to be front court status at some point.
But there's team control at that point, right?
That is the question, does he have any control yet?
Yeah, if you
Is he
determine
still
he has,
fumbling it?
yeah, even if you determine here, I believe this to be true. I could be wrong, but let's just go with it. He does have control, which means player control / team control at this point. And then he goes into the front, and then that happens. He's still, it's still going to be front court status now, even though it was backcourt when he lost. If you go with the fact that he had control, it's the team control or player control, which is a little bit of a tough call on that in the sense it's a judgment call because I'm not sure I would make this call live, but I don't know. I mean, he hits it. He clearly doesn't have team control or player control. Tries to dribble with it, doesn't really get control there, but was he going to try to dribble or was he going to try to pass? I mean, was he really looking to pass and grab that? Was he just trying to dribble at that point? And does that consider control? You know, I don't know. I mean, this is one that, you know, kind of like the one where my foot was, you know, stepping off the line and the heel back down again. Maybe not, maybe it's just not enough information to be able to really feel good about making that call. But now, really all you need to do is ask the coach because the coach is going to help you out. So watch the coach here for the opposing team. He's going over and back, over and back. I'm sure guarantee he's yelling that out. And then meantime, and seeing this is the thing you got to watch. I'm going to play it live just a little bit from this point and watch the official, watch the coach, and then watch the player. I mean, we've got, you know, we still got to officiate the game. And this guy's trying to multitask the official. And okay, so now, you know, you can determine. I looked at this the first time and I was questioning whether or not this player didn't travel. So he drives in. Watch his feet. Look when he establishes a pivot foot. He picks up his dribble right there. Everybody see that he's got control of the ball right there. 2 hands on the ball. His right foot's his pivot foot, right? And then he jumps, comes to a jump stop. Now, by rule, he's not allowed to, he can lift either foot if you determine he landed on both feet. He can lift either foot, but he can't put it back down. Now watch what he does. He lifts it. And if you determine that foot is on the ground, it's hard to see here, but I think it hits the ground. If you look under number 3's right arm there, you can see his foot hits the ground. By rule, that's technically a travel. Now, once again, it's easy to nitpick when you slow it down. I'm not faulting the official on this because that happened fast. But what I am saying is that I'm going to have a talk with his coach. I may even give a warning here. He's got 3 coaches standing up trying to coach him on how to make a call here. That's unacceptable. And now, potential missed travel here. Not the end of the world because it was very close. But now let's look what happens going around down the other end. He's still trying to explain, so I'm going to play this live. He's trying to still communicate. See how that? And now he comes back down and comes in and has a blocking call. Now let's just look at a little late getting to his spot because he's still trying to explain to the coach. It's good to communicate with coaches, but they have to know that we're not going to talk to him during live ball. Just can't. You can't, sometimes you can when things are, not right in your lap like that. Now, look at the defender. His job is to, defend the basketball here. Does he get legal guarding position? That's what you got to ask yourself. 2 feet on the ground. Does he have 2 feet on the floor facing his opponent right there? I see 2 feet on the ground facing his opponent. So now we got a Euro step in the making. Steps over, and the official comes in and calls a block. Does anybody disagree that the defender didn't get, you agree or disagree on the legal guarding position? 2 feet on the ground facing the defender. Now, the things that they can't do at that point, they can do a lot of moving. The one thing they can't do is what? Move towards the offensive player at this point and create contact. So you got to always look for, and right now, look at the official here. What kind of view does the official have on this? Not very good. They're pretty much, trying to look, he's right here. He's trying to look through this and having a hard, it's hard to see in between that gap there. So he's getting straight lined. If he was down here more, he could have gotten a little bit better position. But this is a tough call to make no matter where you are, but you need to help yourself as best you can by getting in as good a position. Does he move towards him? That's what you're looking for. It looks to me like he was moving back, if anything, and trying to absorb any contact. And also, is there a travel on this?
I was gonna say, Dave, that's got a travel on
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yep. And so, once again, it's a question of, let's look where he establishes his pivot foot is his right foot. He jumps off of 1, lands off so he comes off his pivot foot and comes back down. That's a travel. But instead, we've got a block call, which probably wasn't even a block. When you look at as far as did he get legal guarded position, right there, he's got 2 feet, and then he starts going back. I mean, he wasn't moving forward towards him. He was standing there and tried to back off, and the official comes in and gets that. And so the reason why I show this is not to point out that a missed travel or all that, but the main thing is that you don't really want to get stuck in a conversation during a live ball. It's one thing if they're dribbling the ball up the court and the coach is talking to you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when the heat is on. That was right in his area, both up and down the court. And you can't officiate and be focused if you're holding a conversation. I would be having a big time conversation. This is just, look at this again. You got 3 coaches standing during live ball, arms out, and the official's trying to calm them down. I get that. But there's nothing you can explain. You just got to ignore. You got to walk down here, get the best angle you can, and officiate, and just coach. I'll be, if you maybe you can say I'll be with you when I can, but just get down there and officiate, and then go talk to him during the next dead ball and explain to him, because he probably knows. He's probably going to say what we just talked about the backcourt violation. And another thing is, I want to understand how this kid defied the laws of physics. I mean, somehow that ball goes backwards after I think he kicked it and put backspin under it. I mean, look, his toe goes there. Now the ball just takes off and goes back. That was just thought that was kind of funny how that ball just shot back the other way. And if I'm a coach, I'm gonna want a backcourt violation on that call too. So I get that. And you just have to be able to ignore the heat at that point and then get with them when you can. Anybody else have any thoughts on that play?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put two hands on the ball before I go anywhere with, we're gonna give him that first initial tip, trying to start a dribble, and he never really possesses it in my eyes. He never really puts two hands on it. It's the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah. And
bobble basically.
yeah. When did he really get two hands control? Because you got people reaching in, you got this right there. Does he really have control of it? And I like that line of thought, and that err on the side of what Don just said.
Yeah.
I mean, we can
Don't be the
nitpick on
don't
here.
don't don't be the smartest guy in the room, as we like to say.
Yeah. I mean, but we get to break it down to try to understand the rule to its nth degree as best we can. But now this one clearly is not the same type of thing. This one, he's clearly going off his foot, jumps back down. I mean, that to me, that one's a little more obvious that he's.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot. This has been a pretty popular travel call. I've noticed a lot at the college level, and if the defender's legal, we got to get our eyes up and get our eyes on that defender as fast as we can. This guy has no clue as to that defender.
Part of his problem is he's running up and down trying to make the
Yeah,
play, and your eyes are bouncing.
Yeah,
He's in
yeah,
terrible position to make that call,
yeah.
and he never stops and makes a call. He's running and makes a call on the run, which is really tough to do,
yeah, and the lead should be enclosed down.
Yes.
Which would have helped too. Honestly, really, he probably had the better history of the
I
play
mean,
if
he's
he'd have been
making
over.
that on the dead run there, and he's not really getting a good look at it.
Yeah,
Bouncing eyes.
Yeah,
but
that's
just food for thought, I would say I'm seeing more and more of these plays when they bump that legal defender, then they drop that pivot foot. They basically interrupt the Euro step, and it's a travel. And you're going to take some golf, and you're going to have to get your hands dirty a little bit in these plays. But the right call is a travel, because he bumped into a legal defender and put his pivot foot down and wasn't able to finish the Euro. So
yeah.
it's just a good example of it here.
And I'm glad you guys picked up on that, because that's what I had picked up on, that's a travel. That's an easy. I mean, that was he missed the travel. So on the other end, like I said, we talked about that one. That one I totally get. That one we're really nitpicking, but this one I think is pretty clear that he better position. Not running. You're probably going to see that either no call or travel, but certainly not a block.
Okay, so Dave, you said that when all three of those coaches popped up off the bench wanting the
Yep.
backcourt call, that you would consider giving a warning, like a bench warning.
Yeah, you can't.
When
I wouldn't do it.
when
I
do you
wouldn't do it
blow the
right.
sled to do that?
I wouldn't do that right then. I would certainly talk to him, and it's not out of the question. We don't know what's led up at this point. This is early in the
Beginning of the
game.
game.
Yeah, it's early in the game. I'm probably going to talk to him after this, say, Coach, I can't have you guys all up on the bench during live ball talking to me. Not going to happen. I mean, I don't know if there's any history between these officials and coaches at all, but certainly the least that you have to do is talk to them about that, unless you want to put up with that, because not only are you going to put up with it, but your two colleagues on the court with you are going to have to put up with it, because they think they can do that. Now, did they do anything? I mean, they're just reacting, but still, it's live ball. And we've got, let's just back it up to that point. I mean, you've got three coaches standing up here and you can't address it right then. You just got to ignore it right now. And then during a dead ball, go over and say, Coach, I appreciate your enthusiasm for the game, but I can't have your assistant coaches standing up asking about a call along with you. I'll talk to you during a dead ball only. I can't talk to you during live ball. We're moving on. And just, if there's a history there and there's more to it than that, maybe you talked about it pregame, maybe you've had problems with this coach in the past, then you go right to, you could technically go right to the hammer with them. But I think probably the best thing is to address it by minimum of giving a talking to without the official warning. And for sure, you have the warning you can throw at them, put it in the book, and let them know it's serious, because it is serious, because you're interfering with the ability of the official to focus on the game. Anybody else have thoughts on that? All right, let's look at play number 4.
And then they're so quick to
This
get
one's
up.
very lengthy.
And then because you're defending the three, then, then they've got, an open lane to the basket. So then you try to play good help side defense, try to take away the drive, and you're giving up a three on the weak side.
They listen to the announcers during this here. Just listen to everything you can.
Why, bitch? She's just a good, solid basketball. She's not flashy. She's not, this. She just knows the game well.
She plays it so smoothly.
But she does it. Very little effort in what she does.
Minute 26 left here with Grand Haven at the line, third period of play.
Well, I remember a bunch of years ago when Grand Haven won the state title, when they had that really tall girl, and in volleyball too, back to back. They were tall. Well, you got to get those.
Okay, so any thoughts up to this point right here? Anybody have any feedback? Do you notice anything? Anything you want to add? If not, we'll keep moving it along. Nobody has anything?
So, hey, Grand Haven chipped away. They're now down by 5 with a minute 21 remaining in the third quarter.
I wonder what they're conferring about down there. Any ideas, Mike? I don't know. There's something going on down here on Rockford's bench, and I'm not 100% sure exactly what was going on. I think I caught it a little late. And I know one of the officials came over and was having a conversation with Brad Wilson here. I'm not 100% sure what the conversation was about. Pretty long conversation for whatever it is. Yeah. But I think at this point, right, the game means so much.
So let's just stop right there for a second. What do you think they're talking about? What do you think the officials are talking about?
Did the wrong person shoot free throws?
That's a possibility. Could be. Anybody else have anything?
I'm sure.
All right, so
were they really in a bonus situation?
there we go. Now we're getting there. Okay, so let's just let it play out and just keep all that stuff we're talking about in mind, and listen to the announcers again. Make sure you're listening, because there's some good information.
That every call is correct. Would their potential, are they talking about a potential technical, or
No, I don't think they'd be talking a penalty thing. What if they're talking more of a defensive?
They're calling both coaches. No.
It's really a nice job by the officials, though. You got, talking to both coaches, and then the one is talking to the scorekeeper and the clock operator right now, what he saw, what he anticipates.
Okay, now listen to the announcer.
Happening.
Okay, so what do you think happened? The announcer said there should be no shots taken. and they're taking the bat. She made 1 out of 2. They're taking the basket away. What happened is, and it was hard to see, it was a little deceiving because the camera zoomed in right as the foul occurred, but let's just go back to the beginning of this and let's look at the what the call was. Okay, so they got the player coming up the court. Oh no, this is after the, let me go further back. Okay, so it's right here is where the foul occurs.
Got, an open.
Right there, see that push down here? Number 23. She pushes.
An open.
What type of foul is that?
It is team control.
That's team control foul. And so when I watched this the first time, I picked up on it immediately. And I also picked up on the fact that the other officials seemed kind of hesitant to go to the end. Nobody seemed to want to go to the other end. Now, part of it might be they were confused on what the call was, but that's exactly what happened here. That's a team control foul.
To the basket. So then you try to play good help side defense, try to take away the.
Now watching the portrait,
drive and you're
and
giving
then
up
he's
a
like, everybody
three
down here.
On the weak side.
And so I'm looking at the official closest to us on the screen. He looks a little hesitant to me now. Maybe I'm reading more into it. He just seems a little hesitant.
Look at this ball out there right now.
Okay, so they go and line up. So now it's certainly, they should not be shooting free throws because it's team control foul. They should be taking the ball at one of the 4 spots nearest where it occurred. And they go in there and they shoot one, then they miss one. Now, when they're dribbling the ball up the court, a couple things to keep in mind is the officials or the announcers were talking about at one point in there about, well, can they add time on the clock when they do the correctable error? Can we add time back on the clock? And if so, should they?
I don't believe we would add time back to the clock.
That's correct. Exactly. You can't add time back onto the clock. This is live play. It's just you gotta sort it out when you get there. And it could have been a lot longer than this, but we do know for a fact if we could notice what the official's doing. That's on the end line. He does what? He starts his 10-second count. So we know there's 1, 2, whistle. So he had 3 counts. So he knows that 3 seconds came off there because he has definitive knowledge. But this isn't a case where you can use it. You're not allowed to add time back on here. You just have to, that time has happened as part of the game, pick it up from there. So, but he has definitive knowledge, but he just, by rule, you can't add it back at this point in time. A lot of times, though, we don't have definitive knowledge and we make it up and we put, I think there should be about 2 seconds. That's why you should always count, even if there's less than 10 seconds in the backcourt and there can't be a 10-second backcourt violation. What if the clock doesn't start? If you're counting, then you can give definitive knowledge of how much time ticked off there and you can adjust it, but that's a whole nother conversation.
The Lions just went ahead.
Oh, geez. All right.
22
Barb, you
seconds
just
left.
spoiled it.
You're ahead of us.
Come on, Barb.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
There's a penalty.
There's a penalty though.
So it came back. So now they're back down again.
Ah,
But it's first and goal on the 10.
first
20
and
seconds to
goal.
go.
I'm
But anyway.
behind on mine.
Well, do we need to keep watching the game and put this on pause for a second?
No. No, sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Well, what I really like about how the officials handled this, there's a bunch of stuff that was really, really well done by the officiating crew. Number one, they caught it in time. Okay, so the ball it started after the foul call, so we got dead ball, right? And so it's as Don has said before, it's dad is good, dad is bad. So dead, alive, dead, you can still correct. Start on a dead ball, ball becomes alive right here. It's a live ball. And they can correct it right up until, the ball becomes live again on the next dead ball. And we didn't even have a dead ball there until the whistle was blown. So now we can correct that error. And so this official, what happened here is this official, the bench was talking to him the whole time and convinced him that that something wasn't right with those free throws. And so that's why he eventually came in and made that call. Now, by rule, the coach can say, hey, I want a timeout because I think there's you guys made an error here with the free throws. And by rule, if he's right, that timeout is given back to him. And I don't know if that happened in this game. I have no way of knowing, but by rule, he can call a timeout. And if he's right, the crew should give him that timeout back or not charge it to him, however you want to do it. You don't even have to. But they get in. Now watch how the crew handles this. I really liked how they handled it.
With a minute 21 remaining in the third quarter.
Look at the mannerisms of the both of those officials talking right now. Nobody's overly animated. They're just talking, discussing, making sure they're
What they're conferring about down there.
then they bring the partner in. They sent the players to the bench.
Any ideas, Mike? I don't know. There's something going on down here on Rockford's bench, and I'm not 100% sure exactly what was going on. I think I caught it a little late.
Yeah, so he was talking about the coach was saying, hey, something's not right with that. And so that's why they ended up, the coach brought it to their attention.
I know one of the officials came over and was having a conversation with Brad Wilson here. I'm not 100% sure what the conversation was about. Pretty long conversation for whatever it is. Yeah. But I think at this point, right, the game means so much. You want to make sure that every call is correct.
And then watch the officials once they make a decision on what's going to happen. Look what they do.
Like, are they talking about a potential technical or, I mean?
No, I don't think they'd be talking a penalty thing.
They split up 3 ways. You got someone going to the table explaining it, and that was probably the head ref, the tossing official. That's probably why he's going to there. The other coach goes, talk to both coaches, explain, hey, we made a mistake, but by rule, we're still good, and this is what we got to do. And they go ahead and explain it. And of course, they let the announcer know so they can explain it to the fans so they can understand what's going on.
Really nice job by the officials, though. You got, talking to both coaches, and then the one is talking to the scorekeeper, the clock operator right now, what he saw, what he anticipates might be happening.
Now, so here's the question. Correctable error, they took the point off the board. Where does the ball come in bounds? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
Did you go back to the original point of interruption?
That's what they did on this. They went back to where the foul was called originally. And I can't, for the life of me, determine if, when they say point of interruption, if it's when you blow the whistle. Because when they blew the whistle to correct this, where was the ball? The ball was in the backcourt. So point of interruption, because technically they could go down and do what? They could have scored a basket and then the ball becomes dead. And then if the coach calls timeout to question it at that point, that basket's going to count on a correctable error. You can't wipe away the play after that. You can wipe away what happens during the free throw. If there was a foul on that free throw miss, or, unless it's a flagrant or intentional, something like that, you wipe all that away. If there was just a common foul on the free throw, you wipe that away. But my understanding is you don't wipe away what happens after the fact. You got to, you don't add time back, you just go with it. And so my thought is that maybe it should have been inbounded by in the front court, because the ball, let me see if I can back up here. It's a long clip.
Yeah, that's what I would say. The point of interruption when the whistle was blown.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
because he really, I mean, if that's a fast break, I mean, it's not a bad spot to do it right here, because the action is pretty much dead. But you kind of take away a possession. If this is a fast break, like you said, if they score, they get to score, then you can kill it and still fix it. But I'm going to say the 28-foot mark in the front court for White.
That's what I was thinking. And and I couldn't find anything to counter that, but it wasn't so black and white that I was like, but that's how I interpreted it. But maybe there's some nuance there that I'm not totally sure about. But I just thought it was a great example of, number one, it's okay to slow your partner down. That the partner there was just sure it was going the other way, and we've all done this, been there where we've missed this, and this whole crew missed this for a short minute. And I can tell you right now that when you look at the bench, Rockford's bench over here. Okay, so just look over here to the um, right over here at the bench area where that red line is. The coach actually, watch the head coach. It's hard to see, but the head coach is standing. He goes over to his assistant and look what he does. He pats him on the back. He's like, because they knew, I think the assistant coach, it's the head coach teaching one of his assistants on how to work the system and know the rules, or the assistant coach told the head coach, hey, that they shouldn't be shooting free throws. I don't know what happened on that, but you can see him. Watch it again. He goes over and slaps him on the back. It's like, yeah, we did it. You did it, or I'm not really sure, but I just happened to pick that up. I thought it was interesting because having coached before, I always seem to like to look at the sideline on these things as well. And so anyway, they did a great job of handling this, and just really, really impressed with this crew on how they got together on this.
The official down on the right side, when I worked one of my semifinals, he was on my crew. He was very, very good then.
Yeah, these
He's
guys.
also a Big Ten baseball umpire. But so who ended up on the ultimate inbound? Did White inbound the ball after all this, or Black inbound the ball?
Black did. Black inbounded
Okay.
in the
Yeah,
back.
that's what I was wondering, because they got fouls. Yeah.
Yep. And so they corrected it, and it was from where the foul was. And I mean, you got to go back.
It should have been black ball. Yeah. But the
Correct.
point of interruption would have been the last whistle, basically.
Yeah, and they had the ball in the
Yeah.
backcourt on that last whistle. When the whistle was blown, the ball was in the White's backcourt, but the shooting team's offensive team's front court.
If you go way back to the the offensive foul, they're basically the same spot, opposite side of the court.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they, if you're going to make a mistake, that's that you just went back to what, and it didn't really, that didn't alter a thing in my opinion. They sorted that out very well. A great crew, just a lot of great court dynamics. No one coming in trying to be the show on the officiating crew, just all three of them just talking, going through it, not getting overly animated about anything, just business as usual here. We're going to sort this out, calm. Everybody feels like they're, these guys are, doing their job and doing it very well. I just was really impressed with how they handled that.
I guess the question would be, if you go back to kind of where Stephanie was going with this, I mean, it really could have been Black's ball on the 28-foot mark opposite the table. That would be my question, right? Because that's really what's the point of interruption. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's.
I think that's where Stephanie was going with it.
Yeah, you're talking about where the original foul occurred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We can break this one down forever, but it's just a good example of, ideally you don't get yourself into these situations. And it would have been okay for your partner to come in and before you even shot the free throw says, hey partner, I got a question for you. I'm thinking that maybe that's a team control foul. And, then when you start slowing down and think about it, of course it's all those officials, they know what a team control foul is. They're, I mean, so it's just, it's just one of those things where it's okay to slow the game down and come in and before you even shoot the free throws, if you feel like for sure that that's and they got it
Actually,
right.
Dave, the more I think about it, it's got to be where they put it in at, because let's just say White scored.
Yeah.
Right. And then they killed it on the made basket.
Yep. That's going to be
the point of interruption. So yeah, that second whistle is the point of interruption, right? It's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've always thought, but I sometimes there's nuance there that I've missed, and I just, that's why I threw it out there. Anybody else have anything on that one before we move on to the last couple ones that just take a minute on these? All right, play number 5. This is pass and crash situations here. Okay, everybody see the passing crash? So the reason why I'm bringing this in here, just to talk about who should make this call if there is a call. Now, maybe they determined there wasn't enough contact, but let's just look at this. Okay. Who's taking the ball to the basket? So right now the C has the ball. They should be watching it go to the basket. Now you got the trail doing a nice job of stepping down, trying to get a better look at things. And then what's the lead looking for here? What's the lead's job on this?
Second defender.
Second defender, yes. So his second defender's in his primary. That's the lead's call. Doesn't mean that the trail couldn't get this because the trail's got a nice look right here himself. So he did a nice job of moving down. What I want you to look at is watch the lead on this pass and crash. Watch the lead. As soon as the pass goes, what does the lead do? Here's the pass. Look at his head. What's he do? His head does what? Looks towards the ball just for a split second. He didn't turn his whole body or anything, but he was doing a little bit of what? Ball watching on this, it looks like. And then whose job is it to cover 34 here? That would be the trail's job. And he looks just a little bit, and then meanwhile, looks back and we got bodies on the floor and maybe not 100% sure if what happened, so just decided to take a pass on that. Do you guys think this should have been called, number one? Is this a foul?
Yeah, it should have been called, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the kid
The
steps
defender
back.
had both feet on the ground guarding his nets.
Yeah,
Chest
So
contact.
yeah, it went to and through him. I mean, it wasn't we've all seen bigger and harder crashes, of course, but yeah, he was legal all day and was just bailing a little bit to protect the family and um, you know, and so now watch the trail. The trail should be on 34.
yeah.
The lead's head twitched on the pass and missed the crash. And watch the trail.
I'm an attorney here in Assignor. In our law firm, everything matters to me and my dad.
He didn't watch it all the way through, so maybe that's why he missed it, because he did turn his head, like you said,
Yep.
Dave.
I think so. Now the trail doesn't even signal a 3-point attempt here. So now this is how you can get into another correctable error. If this basket goes in, he's clearly behind the 3-point line. I mean, I can see that from here. If that goes in and you guys, that's that fifth correctable error that we won't have time to get into tonight, but that could have been another one in the making. Now here's another passing crash. Just take a look at the lead on this one. This one's interesting. I may have had this one up last year or the year before, but it's worth looking at again. Okay, so let's look at, remember we talked about the official in the lead head moving. Watch the lead official on this one. Watch his head. Did his head move at all? He's looking, his head didn't flinch one bit. He's watching everything that's going on. Now, and he calls a foul on, we're going to stay here, take the ball out of bounds. But the one thing that we have to, and we don't have a good enough angle, so I'm not going to fault this call. But one thing that I do see happen a lot of times is that watch the player in black that the foul was called on. He has the right to his space, okay? He's coming in. Does he have 2 feet on the ground facing his opponent? Yes. Now, is 2 on the pass, is 2 going up and down, or is he going A to B?
A to B.
He's going A to B. And what is so number 12? What's number 12? Is 12 going A to A or A to B when they jump? it looks to me, just from here now, like I say that, he maybe did do, go A to B a little bit, and that's why the official called it. But he has the right to go straight up and straight down. So if anything, in my mind, if he did go straight up, that's a foul on the white team if there's going to be a foul call. You can't run under somebody. They have the right to jump. He's trying to deflect this pass. Watch him. He's got his hands up. He's trying to get a hand on that ball, just misses it. And then the white player's momentum took him underneath him. And now we got a crash, and it looks bad if we don't make a call here, but that might have been one you could either pass on or could have been a, team control foul at that point.
Yeah. Who was the foul called on?
It was called on black 12.
Okay.
Yeah. And he really, just from what I can see, didn't really do anything wrong, just jumped straight up, and then the white's momentum went in under him. And it looked bad. And I guarantee you, nobody in the gym was complaining. 12 wasn't complaining. None of the coaches were complaining because it looked like it's a foul. And there was definitely contact, but technically, it probably should have gone the other way if you're going to make a foul call, if he went straight up, and which is what it looks like. So anyway,
32 black would be center's primary defender, because you could have a foul there too, to potentially.
oh yeah, exactly. Yep. So he's got to be watching for that. And then the lead's looking for secondary defenders and doesn't get fooled. I mean, keeps his eyes on the prize, so to speak. And like I say, it's tough to tell from here, but if the defenders has a right to jump straight up and come back down, and just look like maybe he got undercut a little bit there. So, all right, well, everybody, thanks. For anybody else have any questions? And what happened with the Lions? I guess that's the big question.
Uh,
Ended on a penalty. We scored on a
Ended
crazy
on a
play from like the 5, and Mojo there, whatever, JMO pushed off. They just took away the touchdown. So we went from winning to losing twice in under a minute. We went from winning to losing on 2 penalties.
Mhm.
Oh,
But good stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
Dave, we're gonna skip obviously next Sunday, and I think maybe even the following. And then I think Mike, do you know when your next one is?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I'm watching on my phone and I'm not home. So
yeah, no, you're
It's on the
fine.
11th.
But yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So we'll probably go like the 17th.
yeah.
So next weekend's kind of Easter weekend, and then that's kind of let's see, New
your
Year's
weekend.
weekend.
Are you coloring eggs? Eating them next week, Barb?
Yep, I am. So not Easter. God dang it! I'm half asleep all of a sudden.
Yeah, whole different outcome religiously on that one.
Yes.
Barb.
So holiday weekends. Isn't our next one, or the NSOA one, is it the 18th?
It's in January. How about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so we'll probably skip a couple here, and then I'll get the email out, and we'll get these on the recording too. If you guys want to get the word out on our YouTube, and we'll get the link out to everybody through email. And
Yeah,
people can
not many
watch the
games
recording.
going on. Not many games going on in the next couple weeks, anyway. So
Yeah,
There's 111 is the date. I went to the website. 111 is the next.
111.
so
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
I think
Mike
our next one will be the 17th. So
do the 17th. Yeah.
just one more thing too, before you guys go and kind of get the word out. This has been a question. I like to kind of call it the 9th spot. The throwing at the division line in between quarters and halftime, and then a technical foul.
Oh,
They
yeah.
also want us to put it in that so-called 9th spot if you want to go there. So just to kind of clarify that, a lot of people have been asking. I did look it up, and that is still on a technical. Obviously, common foul is one of the 8 spots. Intentional, it gets a little tricky, but basically in the front court, it's one of the 4 spots. In the back court, we go to the old spot of the foul on a technical. And I think the rationale there is because, late in the game, they could be fouling. Could be a big discrepancy between one of those 4 spots. So backcourt and an intentional foul, like the old way, wherever it happened. If it happens in the front court, we go to the 4 spots. And then just think about the technical as the 9th spot. Or obviously any
half court.
in between half quarter, in between quarters, or the start of the second half. So if that comes up out there, just kind of spread the word, because that is a little bit tricky. We're still using that 9th spot. So good
this
stuff,
is
you guys.
This
go ahead.
sounds like a dumb one, but Donnie, can you repeat that just for me again and if everybody else wants to leave? So on an intentional foul, it's taken at one of the
4 spots in the front
4
court.
spots? Okay.
And then in the back court, we go the old way was
They
intentional
didn't
foul.
have that when I was around. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. So I just looked it up. I didn't know myself. But
I know a technical is still half court.
yeah. And intentional was always spot of the foul. But
Got
then they
it.
went to these 4 spots. So they said
Yeah.
Just like any
4
other.
spots backcourt, last year was spot of the foul, easy, no matter if
Probably
it was
everybody
intentional.
knew that but me. So there you go.
No, it's actually I wasn't sure either. And you think about it, and
Yeah.
it's because we've added the 4 spots to the backcourt. And what do you do with that when it's an intentional foul? And they're saying you do not use those 4 spots in the backcourt.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but good
Nope.
stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Have a good holiday and
Thanks,
stay
Dave,
healthy.
everybody.
Donnie, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for putting all that
Yeah.
work into that.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Take care.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Yeah,
Happy
you
New
too,
Year.
Dave.
Yep.